6:45 a.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news, edited by Danushka Madivella and read by Mario Vijayavardhana. The headlines. The President is to attend the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. The IMF applauds the country's significant progress in implementing economic reforms. A new price formula for water tariffs. The Japanese finance minister commends the impressive economic advancements in Sri Lanka. 2 million tourists are expected in 2024. In foreign news, Taiwan heads to the polls with China relations at stake. In sports news, an injury is likely to keep Man City striker Erling Haaland out until the end of January. President Ranil Wickremesinghe will attend the World Economic Forum annual meeting, which will commence on the 15th of January 2024 in Davos clusters in Switzerland. The World Economic Forum is a global platform where the world's key decision makers get together at the beginning of the year to shape the political, economic, social and environmental agendas. Representatives from over 1,000 governments, international organizations, global companies, civil society, academic institutions and the media will be attending the forum. During the visit, President Wickremesinghe will deliver the keynote address on paving the way towards an energy-secure Sri Lanka at the Green Tech Forum organized by the Swiss Asian Chamber of Commerce. The President will also attend the business roundtable organized by the Board of Investment of Sri Lanka with the Swiss Asian Chamber of Commerce. A business delegation will accompany the President on the visit. On the sidelines, the President is expected to have bilateral meetings with his counterparts of a number of countries as well as key business leaders. The permanent mission of Sri Lanka to the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland, is coordinating the visit of the President. During a meeting between President Ranil Wickremesinghe, Sri Lankan authorities and the International Monetary Fund on Thursday, the IMF congratulated the country on completing the first review under its program. The IMF highlighted the positive start of the program, recognizing the challenging reforms undertaken by Sri Lanka and their significant impact on the domestic population. Directors at the Executive Board meeting applauded Sri Lanka's courage in publishing the Governance Diagnostic, a pioneering effort in Asia. Senior Mission Chief for Sri Lanka Peter Breyer noted that encouraging signs were noted regarding the program's impact on stabilizing the economy, particularly in policy-oriented variables and fiscal areas. A recent meeting revealed promising revenue collection, indicating the effectiveness of implemented policies since reaching a staff-level agreement in the second half of 2022. The IMF emphasized the positive surprise in these developments, boosting confidence with the international community, official creditors and private creditors. The board meeting recognized Sri Lanka's success in reducing inflation significantly, attributing it to the government's efforts in monetary policy and scaling back monetary financing. Positive outcomes such as an increase in reserves were also observed. The ongoing governance reforms were acknowledged as positive indicators contributing to tentative economic growth in the third quarter, particularly in capital formation and machinery. The meeting also highlighted the urgency of addressing fiscal matters, including passing amendments to the Banking Act and recapitalizing the banking sector. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
People's Bank Excelsior. Live the life you want.
The Minister of Water Supply and Estate Infrastructure Development Jeevan Thondaman says water tariffs are expected to be slashed in line with the proposed electricity tariff reduction. Speaking at an event held in Kandy recently, Thondaman asserted that the government is making arrangements to provide the maximum possible concessions to the general public. Furthermore, the minister also said that a pricing formula would be introduced for water tariffs to not exert more pressure on the people but to provide relief. Japan's Finance Minister Suzuki Shunichi arrived in Sri Lanka on a two-day official visit aimed at deepening economic relations with the Sri Lankan government. This visit is particularly significant amidst the economic challenges faced by Sri Lanka, prompting the implementation of comprehensive reform measures focusing on macro stability and debt sustainability. The Japanese finance minister expressed strong admiration for President Ranil Wickremesinghe, noting significant improvements in Sri Lanka's economy. He specifically mentioned positive trends in GDP and inflation indicators, attributing the progress to the president's strong leadership. The minister conveyed deep respect for President Wickremesinghe's demonstrated leadership in achieving these economic improvements. The president expressed profound appreciation for Japan's lead role in addressing Sri Lanka's debt issues. The talks encompassed future collaborations, emphasizing areas such as information technology cooperation, maritime security collaboration, the resumption of stalled projects, long-term bilateral cooperation, finalization of debt restructuring agreements, and pipeline projects. Both leaders expressed mutual appreciation for the ongoing support and cooperation between their nations. The State Minister for Tourism Diana Gamage predicts that the revitalization of the tourism industry in Sri Lanka will attract 2 million tourists in 2024, generating estimated revenues of $6 billion. Additionally, she highlighted the substantial increase of 106% in tourist arrivals in 2023 compared to the previous year of 2022. State Minister Diana Gamage made these remarks during a press conference held at the Presidential Media Centre under the theme Collective Path to a Stable Country yesterday. The State Minister further emphasized the current revival in the country's tourism industry after a 3-year period, attributing it to the successful measures implemented to promote tourism. This year has seen over 700,000 tourists visiting the country, and in 2023, more than 1.4 million tourists arrived, reflecting a remarkable 106% growth compared to 2022.
People's Bank Excelsior, a comprehensive banking services package with a branded checkbook as well as debit and credit card exclusively for you. People's Bank Excelsior, for professionals who dare to dream.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
The Examinations Department has cancelled the Agriculture Science Part 2 examination question paper of the GCE Advanced Level Examination 2023 held on the 10th of January from 1 p.m. to 4:10 p.m. since it has been revealed that the examination question paper had leaked prior to the exam. Once again, the Examinations Department has cancelled the Agriculture Science Part 2 examination question paper of the GCE Advanced Level Examination 2023 held on the 10th of January from 1 p.m. to 4:10 p.m. since it has been revealed that the examination question paper had leaked prior to the exam. It has also been revealed that the question paper has been circulating on social media. Therefore, the Examinations Department has decided to cancel the Agriculture Science Part 2 question paper and to hold a fresh examination in due course. The new examination will be held after the completion of the ongoing advanced level examination, and the date for the rescheduled question paper would be notified later by the Examinations Department. The relevant admission cards of the school candidates will be sent to the respective principals, while that of private candidates will be sent to their private addresses, mentioning in the applications by the candidates.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
This is Watchlight.
The National Water Supply and Drainage Board states that a 16-hour water cut will be imposed in several areas in Colombo today from 5 p.m. till 9 a.m. tomorrow. Accordingly, water supply to Colombo 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15 will be affected.
Coming up, World News.
In world news headlines, Taiwan heads to the polls with China relations at stake. Strikes on Houthi targets in Yemen show war in Gaza has already spread. Amazon rainforest deforestation rate has halved in 2023. Around 19.5 million Taiwanese are voting to elect a new president and legislature on Saturday in an election key to determining the island's future relationship with China. Taiwan is a democratic territory that governs itself but is claimed by mainland China and has no international recognition as a country. The ruling Democratic Progressive Party is seeking a third term. It has always clashed with Beijing over its defense of Taiwan's sovereignty. Its candidate William Lai has been labelled a troublemaker by China who warned the people against voting for him. On the other side is the main opposition, Kuomintang or KMT, which is promising better ties with Beijing and peace in the Taiwan Strait. A third party is also on the ballot, but polls which ended 2 weeks ago had showed a tight race between the DPP's William Lai Ching-te and KMT's Hu Yu-e. Taiwanese voters, however, are more concerned about the economy than they are about China. It is time to stop talking about the risk that the war in Gaza will spread elsewhere in the Middle East. It has already happened. Hopes for containing what is happening rest on the fact that it is still relatively low level compared to the worst-case scenarios of regional war. The US and British attacks on the Houthis in Yemen are not just, as ministers in London have suggested, about the freedom of navigation and world trade. They are directly linked to events in Gaza and represent an escalation of the crisis that is gripping the region. The Houthis immediately vowed to respond. It is also entirely possible that pro-Iranian militias in Iraq and Syria will increase the action they are taking against the American forces in the region. The rate of deforestation in Brazil's Amazon fell by nearly 50% in 2023 compared to the previous year, space agency data suggests. Brazil's Environment Ministry said it was the lowest recorded deforestation rate in the last 5 years. Though smaller than in the previous years, the deforested area is still more than 6 times the size of New York City. President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva pledged to end deforestation by 2030 when he took office a year ago. Preliminary data from National Space Agency's INPE showed 5,153 square kilometers of the Amazon were cleared in 2023, down from 10,278 in 2022. And now the main points of the world news segment once again. Taiwan heads to the polls with China relations at stake. Strikes on Houthi targets in Yemen show a war in Gaza has already spread. Amazon rainforest deforestation rate is halved in 2023.
Development News.
The Inland Revenue Department has achieved its highest ever tax revenue of 1,550.6 billion rupees in 2023, exceeding the target of 1,492 billion rupees given to them for the year, which is 104% of the set revenue target of 1,492 billion rupees given for 2023. The Deputy Commissioner General of the Inland Revenue Department, Saman Shanta, told the local media yesterday that those who are over 18 should not be afraid to obtain the Taxpayer Identification Number certificate, as registering with the Inland Revenue Department for a TIN does not mean that they're required to pay taxes, as only those individuals earning a fixed annual income of over 1.2 million rupees are required to pay income tax.
Moving on with sports news.
Manchester City striker Erling Haaland is likely to be out until the end of January. Manager Pep Guardiola says a foot injury has kept the 23-year-old Haaland out since the defeat by Aston Villa on the 6th of December, although few details have been given. It had been hoped City's top scorer would return for the Club World Cup in December, but the injury has still not healed. Norway international Haaland, who has scored 19 goals in 22 club games this season, had already been ruled out of Saturday's Premier League match against Newcastle, after which City have a 13-day break when they will depart for warm weather training in Abu Dhabi. If he misses the remainder of the month, he will be absent for the visit to Tottenham in the FA Cup on the 26th of January and the league match at home against Burnley on the 31st of January.
Go ekakiyana youth කට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
US authorities are stepping up oversight of Boeing's manufacturing line a week after a door plug broke off one of its planes mid-flight. The head of the Federal Aviation Administration said he believed there were significant problems with the 737-9 MAX jet as well as other manufacturing problems. The FAA said it would conduct an audit of the plane's production line. It also plans to review who is in charge of quality oversight.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
go එකක් තියන youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
And now in economic news, oil prices jumped by 4% after the US and the UK launched strikes in Yemen over the recent attacks by Houthi rebels on ships in the Red Sea. Brent crude hit $80 per barrel for the first time this year as the Iran-backed rebels vowed to retaliate against military action by Western powers. While the price rose, it is below highs reached when Russia invaded Ukraine. But the UK government has drawn up scenarios suggesting further disruption could hit the economy. On Friday, Brent crude, the international benchmark for oil prices for much of the world, hit $80.71 per barrel before easing, while US West Texas crude increased by 2.79% to $74.03.
Weather report.
The Met Department forecasts that a few showers may occur in the central and Uva provinces. Mainly fair weather will prevail in the other areas of the island. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the Sabaragamu and central provinces during the morning. That was the weather report, and now the headlines of this news broadcast once again. The President is to attend the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. The IMF applauds the country's significant progress in implementing economic reforms. A new price formula for water tariffs. The Japanese finance minister commends the impressive economic advancements in Sri Lanka. 2 million tourists are expected in 2024. In foreign news, Taiwan heads to the polls with China relations at stake. In sports news, injury likely to keep Man City striker Erling Haaland out until the end of January. That concludes this news broadcast. And now it's back to Sonal Pannavithana on the other side this Saturday morning, who is as surprised as me to see me here this Saturday morning, early in the morning. Sonal knows how I love to get up so early. So yes, Sonal, over to you. And I know you too love to get up in the wee hours of the morning to keep our listeners entertained. Over to you, Sonal.